Really happy to be here today. In terms of quick introductions, Simon is joining us from Microsoft here, so thanks for joining, Simon. We also have Shri from my team inside of Microserve. Apologies, he won't be on camera today with some difficulties, but he'll get things going. And then myself, Nigel Brown, for those that don't know me yet, VP of Professional and Managed Services for Microserve. So in terms of agenda, relatively high level. I'll give you the 10 seconds about Microserve, not in a lot of depth, because that's quite frankly really not why we're here today, even if we're facilitating it. Then Shri's going to cover off just some of the high-level advantages and discussion around SharePoint topics before I turn it over to Simon, who's going to give us the live demo and a little bit deeper dive into some of the specific areas that we think could be of value for you folks. And then near the end, I'll kind of help wrap things up, pull up the slides again for Q&A. And at the very end, we've got a feedback form that we'll post in the chat. I also have a slide with a QR code if it's easier for you just to pull up in your form. Really appreciate you filling out feedback. That also helps drive just where we go in future topics, or if you'd like to engage us for further dialogue, at that point, you've got the option to say yes for that. So yeah, so without further ado, I'll touch onto the agenda here. You know, many of you folks obviously work with Microserve already to some capacity. Many are related to, you know, our what we're best known for, or our core competencies around overall IT procurement or end user compute, for example. But just kind of highlighting our broader service portfolio across the ecosystem of all the things that we can do and we do for many of our clients today. So obviously, really, the focus around today is modern workplace. This is really near and dear to my heart, in my opinion. That's what helped Microserve be very successful through the shift through the pandemic and learning new ways to work. And a lot of what gets talked about today has been the fundamentals to our business since pre-pandemic, got much stronger during the pandemic. And now as we enter hybrid work, really, it's sort of the thought is here to stay. So happy to share our experience and what it's done for us in more detail for any of those interested. I won't bore you now, though, so we can dive into the real content here. And with that, Shri, if you're ready to go, I will turn it over to you to talk about SharePoint a little bit more at a high level.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sri Charan, and I'm the SharePoint collaboration specialist at Microsoft. So I'm here to share quickly on the advantages of using SharePoint. So what is SharePoint? Basically, SharePoint is a web-based collaboration and document management tool developed by Microsoft. And so the advantages of SharePoint is basically if we use SharePoint, it will have like anywhere access to files, and is a significant advantage because it allows users to access their files from anywhere, and as long as they have a proper internet connection. This also increases the productivity, and users can access their files whether they are in office, whether they are in home, or while on the go. So this will also enable users to work more efficiently without being tied to a specific location. Also, this will increase the collaboration more effectively. Even they are like geographically dispersed. Users can access and edit files in real time, making it easier to work together and make changes as needed. Also, it improves the backup and disaster recovery whenever like the files are automatically backed up into this cloud. And this means like if the user device is lost or stolen, and if there is a disaster or outage, files can be easily restored and accessed from another device. Overall, it provides more flexibility and accessibility to users, allowing them to like work more productively and more effectively, and access their files from anywhere. Also, it provides some security. Some of the key points, key security features that SharePoint have are like authentication and access control. SharePoint provides multiple authentication options, including like Active Directory and OAuth, to ensure that only authorized users can access your data. And another feature is the encryption. SharePoint uses encryption to protect your data and rest and in transit. Data is encrypted using industry standard encryption algorithms such as AES and SSL to ensure that it is secured and protected from unauthorized access. Also, another feature of security is compliance and auditing. SharePoint includes features to help you comply with regulatory requirements such as HIPAA and GDPR. You can also set up policies to automatically retain and delete the data. And SharePoint includes auditing capabilities that allow you to track and report on access and activity. Also, there is another feature called threat protection. So SharePoint includes built-in threat protection features such as anti-malware scanning, file blocking, and suspicious activity monitoring. These features help protect your data from threats such as viruses, malware, and phishing attacks. Also, there is another feature called DLP, which is data loss prevention, that help prevent sensitive data from being accidentally or intentionally shared or leaked. Basically, we can set up like policies that can automatically detect and prevent sharing of sensitive data, such as credit card numbers or social insurance numbers. So we also have mobile device management in SharePoint, which includes MDM features that allow you to control, manage, access data from mobile devices. And another feature that we have in SharePoint is the external sharing. So like this will allow like to control and govern the content that is being shared externally with the clients or vendors, for instance. And external sharing is used to share content outside your organizations, allowing them to view, edit, or comment on the content depending on the permissions you set. This will also increase productivity by enabling like external users to work efficiently with your organization, like partners and other collaboration on other tasks. So this also enables the cost saving. Basically, like when external sharing in SharePoint can help eliminate the need for other file sharing or collaboration tools. So also the real-time collaboration and file versioning on the SharePoint also enables user to hassle-free managing like changes, and there are two advantages that can help improve productivity and streamline the workflows. Basically, like real-time collaboration, SharePoint allows multiple users to work on the same document or file simultaneously. This can also help speed up collaboration and reduce the need for manual updates on or the version control. Also, SharePoint have the intelligent analytics feature that will give like on the usage of the content, and also it recommends the content based on the usage to the based on the user. Also, there is an option to search the content from anywhere on SharePoint environment. So these are like overall the advantages of real-time usage of SharePoint, and that will improve the productivity and save cost efficiently. I would like to, yeah, I think Simon is going to demonstrate about the a live environment to just to show how a modern intranet looks like. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Sri. So yes, as I will start my screen sharing, I just want to add one thing that I know a lot of people might have in mind when we talk about SharePoint and security of the files. So keep in mind, it is also possible to give access to some site or library with conditional access only to, let's say, a person that is authorized and have a compliance PC, meaning that even if I have the full access to a library, if I'm not using my work computer, I might be blocked if the content is too sensible, or I might just have access as a read-only. So I won't be able to download or print the content, but I will still be able to have a look at it for maybe like not super highly confidential, but still confidential content. So there's a lot of way where you can customize the access, not just per user, but also based on multiple conditions. So I don't have that demo in my environment right now. Just that's something that I think it's worth mentioning. But yeah, it's possible by combining the conditional access policy and the sensitivity label in Compliance Manager. So that being said, I will focus on a few things on SharePoint Online. I'm currently in a team client. If you have questions, please raise your hand. I will try to keep an eye in the chat and on the participant during my demo. So why am I in Teams? As you may or may not know, Teams storage for channels and themes is based on SharePoint. So SharePoint being a super important part of our Teams act with files. So I just currently in one of my demo environment, demo Teams, and if I click on files right here, which if you are already in Teams, you might be already be doing a lot of time, you might not just know that this is really running on SharePoint. So if I click open on SharePoint, it will bring me to the SharePoint Online view of the content. So it's exactly the same content. It's just that this view is from Teams and this view is from SharePoint. Why does this matter? Is you can customize the SharePoint list in a way where this one might be a bit less customizable. I can still add columns, but I won't be able necessarily to add every columns like in a SharePoint. So you might still need to go back and forth between your SharePoint Online file system and Teams. But at the end, if you're putting something in Teams here, keep in mind that the compliance, the security policy, the versioning that you have set up in SharePoint Online will apply to your Teams. So we're having one approach for your storage. And so you don't need to have your employee think about where should I put that file to be sure that it's stay compliant or it stay like it will be version, or I can do live collaboration on it. If they're working in Teams, that will be taken care of for them automatically, leveraging SharePoint Online. And if they are more used to go to SharePoint Online Library, they will still be able to do that. There's still some difference though between the two. So if I open my file here, usability testing priority, just as a demo, it will be open in my Word Online view. I can then open it up in my desktop app if I prefer to do that. And same thing will happen right here. So if I do that, I will have this exact same view. As I do that, I will just click somewhere else to show a quick fake collaboration demo. But I say fake because it will be with myself, where I could have brought another persona, but we should be able to see that somebody else is in that document, and we'll be able to see some edit. So usually it should be showing up, and the demo god is not with me today. Usually we should see a red pointer. Oh, there he is. So we can see that on my other view, I'm here. Now I'm there. So technically the other way should be around that. And so we can see other people in the file doing edit, depend wherever I am. Sorry. One thing that we can also do is, like I already did here, is pin a file into our channel. By doing that, I will enable even more feature. So we can do that for Word, Excel. So wherever the file, a PowerPoint. So I could go in here and I will be able to browse the file. I can post on the channel. Why I would want to do that is I can start a discussion around that file. So if we're working on a project, we could exchange on what change need to be done in the file, like something that did happen previously, like right here, this one. So a first test, and then people commenting what could be improved on the file. So we can have a discussion on a file. If I'm only in SharePoint Online, opening the file, I can use comment to do that. it's not exactly the same because comment will might be deleted, might be reviewed, and will go through the file. Where if I'm in Teams, it's really a discussion. Then if I pin the file, that will give me one more option. As we can see right here, I have the chat that open up. And if I do that, I can start a conversation around that file. So it will create another discussion in my post so I can chat with my coworker about that file while, as we can see now, I have it open at 2 other places. So we have other people doing edit and we can all chat right here. So we are integrating our system. So SharePoint Online, and we're adding Teams feature so people can collaborate in real time on files and in multiple ways so they can really chat, share, comment, review, have a long discussion around the file, bring that file into a meeting. The file will stay at one place in SharePoint Online. We will have all the versioning done at that place too, and all the discussion around the file will follow it through. So it's really helpful to centralize that that content in this way. So that being said, the same thing will happen if I'm in a meeting like this one. I did a meeting inside my team channel. As I did a recording, the recording itself, if I go back to my file, will be stored in SharePoint Online. Now, every recording in Teams will be stored either on your OneDrive for business or SharePoint Online. The difference is where you hosted the meeting. So if you did the meeting from your own calendar and invite people, it will be stored in your OneDrive. OneDrive being also part of SharePoint Online, it's your personal storage space for that. And well, again, same compliance, same security, same versioning will be able to be applied there. Versioning, by the way, is a good way if once enabled, if you got a ransomware attack, so your file might be encrypted on the PC. If all your file have been redirected to OneDrive or SharePoint, you will have a big versioning bump happening on a lot of file, and it's super easy in SharePoint Online and OneDrive to just say, I want that kind of event happen. You can just roll back all those changes at once, and then be sure to have unplugged that PC that was infected from and do the proper investigation so it won't come back in. But still, if you do that, you can roll back and get back access to all your file unencrypted. No need to pay anything. So it's a good way, versioning in SharePoint/OneDrive, to keep your company protected against, or not protected, sorry, it's not the right word because it's too late, but at least recover post-incident, I should have said. So yeah, my recording will, if it's done in a channel, will be stored in SharePoint Online. I will have access to my recording file, which is now to stream in SharePoint Online, where we'll be able to have a few features depending on your licenses, where you will be able to catch up, see where you join in, left channel sliding if you change slide during the presentation. So automatic chapter is done. And now by default, every recording will expire after so this one seems to be close to 120 day-ish. That in my environment, you can change that in your own environment. So from 0 to infinite, you can select where you want to have that. So the goal here is to reduce the amount of storage needed for meeting recording. We all know that once a meeting is recorded, chances are people won't watch it again anyway, if we're honest. But if some meeting need to be kept longer, we can come here and keep, like if I remove the expiration date, that meeting is safe. If that was an important meeting I want to keep forever, I can do that. But any other meeting that were just recorded in case somebody missed it. And so after a week or two, usually they're not being watched anymore. and I'm being generous here. So else we can just come here and select a date to set it back. So by default, it will be removed from your organization after 120 days. That date, but can be customized as a default policy. So that's another feature. So now that Stream is in SharePoint Online, we have the capability of doing video editing, thumbnailing. We have the closed captioning, and I don't think I said much in chat meeting. Chapter, again, chapter could be done automatically if there's slides that are changing. We can suppress noise. All of good thing. Effect on your OneDrive space. So the question in the chat is the recorded video will affect on your OneDrive space? Yes. In your SharePoint space? Yes. That's why we put by default now expiration, because you might have a terabyte of OneDrive. That might seem a lot. That is full depending on your size of your organization. But yeah, at some point, nobody do cleanup, right? We are so used to have a massive amount of storage available to us that we just store stuff and we never go back, we never delete. That's a bad side effect. That's why we have also compliance policy where you can go and say that a document after 7 years need to be deleted, right? And will be deleted by default. Recording, we set that bar lower. And again, that can be changed. So at least you will keep that space freed automatically quicker. Because again, nobody really rewatch meeting recording. Everybody want to record the meeting. Nobody really rewatch it. I know I'm being recorded saying that, so it might sound weird. It is what it is. It's a webinar, so hopefully people will check this one. It's not your regular town hall at the office. So anyway, that being said, we have also other feature here like sync that could be good for people that still like the good old Internet Explorer is dead. Long live Internet Explorer, but Windows Explorer. So if we click on sync, that will be added in my Explorer, so I can go back and browse my file library as I would browse any other share folder on the network. Now, as I'm seeing that, I'm trying to check if I have one sync. I don't. So usually, if that's the case, I'm not sure what I'm here, but I would have name of my enterprise, for my case, Microsoft, and I click on that, and I will see all my sync folder right there. So sync is a good thing for those people that are used to use the Explorer to navigate to file. You can do that. And to add the shortcut to OneDrive, this one will add a link to that SharePoint library to your OneDrive. So this way, you don't need to remember exactly where that file were, but you have a shortcut in your OneDrive, so you can keep being online for that. Yeah, sure, Nigel. So yeah, watching recording at twice the pace and looking for your name in transcript are a good trip if you want to be sure that you didn't miss anything in a meeting that might sound important. And that can be done with the power of Stream and Teams. So no problem there. So that is good option right there. Okay. The next thing I wanted to showcase is our Viva connection. So you might have heard about Viva by now. Viva is our employee experience suite, which Viva Connection is part of. We just retooled Viva Connection. So for those that never seen the new Viva Connection, and I've seen the old portal, so that's the new Viva Connection. Now Viva Connection is beginning by being our hub for Viva, and then your intranet. So usually it was the intranet first, and you got the dashboard. So that being said, that dashboard now, that Viva Hub inside Teams will help your employee in various ways. So we have the dashboard. Dashboard will be able to be seen on desktop and mobile from the Viva connection. What is fun with the dashboard like that is it can be personalized per user, per audience. So if the user is in a certain region, you can give them some cards or have certain roles. So somebody in the warehouse might need to have a shift tab where you can go and click that is in and out of the warehouse, where a knowledge worker might not need to have access to that and might need to have access to other tools. So that's the power of the dashboard in Viva Connection. So you can create customizable card where, like this one, I want to take some time off. I can see my balance of time that I use, what's left, so I can go in and I will take a sick day tomorrow, not feeling well. I click on submit. It's a demo environment. It's not working for real. But we have a great partner like Microsoft that can help you integrate those with your real system for time off. So we have other card like that. I want to schedule a COVID vaccine. I mean, less less popular now that it was in the past. I want to see my holidays. So when the next one, everything is possible. I want to check the praise, what's coming up, if I receive any. So I can do that here. Then at the bottom, I can see this website, SharePoint Online website that I'm going to most, that I'm following the navigation. So now my intranet is here. In my case, it's called the landing. That's the default Microsoft demo environment from Contoso. So you can create your own. And if I do, so basically, if you already have a SharePoint Online communication site or home site, it can become your Viva Connection intranet website. If you don't, then you will have to you can build your own dashboard thing, which is nice, but you can also build your own intranet. Bring that intranet into Teams, integrate that intranet into your navigation in Teams, where you will be able to little time to load, but I can see the news from the organization being fed by multiple communication sites. I can select which one. I can promote some with the right permission for sure, but I can promote some, boost them. I think it's the right wording for that, where it will be top for them. And again, the audience is important. So we will be sure that the audience is fit. So if they have access to the site, they will be able to see it. Or you can customize who is the audience for that news, and we will respect that through Viva Connection, then your company event. And as you can see, we still have the dashboard being the added value on Viva Connection, where your employee can go and do quick things. So the goal is we want them to kind of start there. They have access to the company news. They might be able to see what's going on in the company, clicking in, clicking out, whatever they need to do right there. We're bringing their tools in one place. We're with the news, so we're giving them a reason to go to your intranet, because now they don't need to run around trying to figure out where the clocking, where I should go for my vacation, no, it's all there. And plus, have a look at what we have to announce to you, what's going on at the company, right? So it's a good way to do that. So that is Viva Connection. A quick tour of Viva Connection. So there's a lot that can be done here. And as you can see, since it's an app in Teams, I have access to my information right into Teams, so I can go and check my benefit from here. So the navigation that have been done in my Viva Connection intranet website will be ported into the Teams client directly there, and I can go check other website, the news, and all of that. So I've integrated SharePoint Online and Teams in another way. Now, the last part I wanted to talk to you about in regard to Viva and SharePoint Online is Viva Topic. Viva Topic is a way to aggregate the data in your organization. So we have one single place where the data will be mapped, where you will be able to identify new topics, new SME on those data, but want that data not to be we don't want to force the user to go there. With Viva Topics, we will bring those those topics where the user is working. So the first step, I will show you the Viva topic, and while I do that, I will just load my Outlook. Okay, so Viva topic is really a one-place stop where I can go and check what's important for the company. So what topic are being talked about? By default, you need to have a million document in the organization to turn it on because it will scavenge document, trying to find topics for your organization. Then it will suggest you those topics. Those topics will be able to be managed in managed topic. Should have preloaded that. Didn't preload, but in managed topic, it's where you will be able to go and check if the topics are valid, if they're confirmed, if they are published. Should have some that are, oh, this one is suggested. So I can say that, yeah, this one is a valid topic or no. So your knowledge officer will be able to select which topic is right for the organization, because it's not because a term is discussed that it's necessarily a topic for the organization. And if I want to go, let's see, a good topic score. Topic score is the confident that the topic is good for the organization. This one should look okay-ish. As you can see, that is the Viva topic card that I can also see in my Outlook. I will show you that a bit later, but I want to open the topic and I just need to click at the right place. By doing that, as an end user, you will be able to have access. So I have the topic. If there are any alternate name, acronym, or anything that we found or that somebody else add, it will be added there. By default, we will generate a topic a brief. So we will tell you what that topic is. Again, that can be recustomized by the organization. We will tell you are the SME on that topics based on their contribution around the topic. So who build document talking about that topic, presentation, and whatnot. And we can also, again, remove, add manually people from those topics. And in the files, it's super important to mention that the file that I'm seeing here are files that I have access to. If I don't have access to a file, I won't be able to see any files. So I won't know that that file ever exists. It's just that I don't see it, so I don't have more permission here. In that case, I can see I have access to a couple of files related to that topics, and I can see some information about how many view it got and if it's important for people. Other sites that are talking about that topics, containing documents about that topics. Again, if I don't have access to the site, it won't appear there. And at the bottom, related topics. So my topics map. How is that topics related to other topics in the organization? And if I want to understand, like, okay, so this one, headquarter optimization, is related to the C320. Okay, so what is this one? I can quickly go here. I can quickly read about that. I can quickly then see, oh, this one is linked about this one. So what is this one? And I can go on and on. So that is a powerful tool for new employee or people that are reskilling to gain knowledge around topics that are linked together. So I can move around and I can see, okay, now I'm like 2 topics away from my original topics, and I can continue this way, trying to understand how they all map together, right? So it's helping me understand how the knowledge is linked inside the organization. The thing I wanted to show you is, okay, so DC320. We'll give him a second. Just send that to Megan. In the meantime, new project. So technically, it should, and again, Good. Maybe should have did that before and just show you the result. Oh, I see there's a hand up. Yes.
Hi, thanks. This is very interesting. Just from the Viva topic perspective, is there how what was I going to ask? Yep. So how involved is it in terms of the community engagement? Do they all have to be members of the tenant of the Active Directory user accounts, or can we, because I'm coming from a post-secondary organization, we might want to have people outside of the organization engage in some of these discussions, because we're looking at driving some community discussions within the organization. Would it allow things like that, or is it just within the organization?
Yeah, so T would need to have internal access, but you can create guest access for them, and if you do that, then they will have access. So it's work per permission. There are multiple ways of managing topics. So you can go fully automated. You can have knowledge people that will review what have been found. You can do that manually. What we do at Microsoft to manage those topics is we have a form where if we saw that the topic is missing, we can go and suggest it. It's not built into topics, so we kind of have to build our own form on the side to do that. So we can feed our knowledge worker or a knowledge officer about new topics. But yes, if you want an external person to gain have the permission to go into those topics, edit the topics, then they would need to have a guest account into your organization with the right access. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay. Isabel, will it? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, they should be able to, if they have access to your organization and with the right permission, would have access to Viva Topics. Viva Topics also require licensing to be deployed, so they will also need to have access to the right license.
License.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that clear or? Okay, so I wanted to show you what the topic card looked like inside our tool. So in Teams, if I want to bring a topic, I need to do a hashtag and then mention the topic. Once it's done, as you can see, I can go and check the card, and I could go and learn more about the topic or related topic, people involved. Technically, and in my email, it should have been detected, but for some reason, maybe it's because I didn't use cap. I should have tested that before in the email, but I should be able to see the same card like that. So we want people, as they are working, being able to find those topics and getting insight into those topics. Right, so that's kind of our goal with Viva Topic. Site that might sells. Okay, yeah, for some reason it's not cooperating as I would have expected it to do, but it it should work. Where technically, if I mention a topic like that, I should be able to see the. I'm just trying to see if there are any older topic verse clear linking. Anyway, it should be able to just bring back in the discussion in the flow of your people working, and you will be able to see those topic card as you're working. So you will be able to stumble upon them, learn about them if you're not aware of what that acronym is or that project is, and then continue your learning journey. So I think I'm pretty much about on my time for that, as I see Nigel coming back on. So should we do Q&A now, Nigel? Is that the plan?
Yeah, you bet. Certainly we can throw it out to the audience. I've got a couple questions that came to mind while you're talking, but I'll save them and see if our attendees have any first here.
I see
I do
Adam
see-
as is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam.
Hey, thank you. Just a quick follow-up question about Viva topics. You mentioned licensing, and I see there's a per user per month license SKU required for this. It's not built into the Microsoft 365 package. And just to be clear, every user who would take advantage of any of the Viva topics feature sets would require their own per user license. It's not like we can license the topics creators, curators, and admins, and then end users get to tinker with the output of what they're doing.
I honestly, so I'm not a licensing expert. I don't want to comment on this one. And it's recorded, so I want to be safe, to be honest. I would refer that to your licensing expert. So maybe at Microsoft, or if you have an EA, it will be better equipped than me to answer that question.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Adam, we can follow up after the session to make sure we get some details for you. Same thing. I don't want to speak out of turn. This is the deepest I've seen Viva topics in action so far, personally. So, yeah, I won't speak out of turn there.
Marcus.
Yeah, thanks. So for Viva topics and this type of layout where you're seeing topics across your organization, is that the one level where the assumption is everyone in your organization cares about the same type of topics and these are pervasive through the whole org? Or is there the notion of the topic centers are somehow linked to like a hub in SharePoint where topics for your IT department might be different from topics from your HR department? It might be different from topics for faculty of biology or something.
So at the moment, we only have a possibility to have one topic center. So yeah, those topics would be for your whole org. But again, if you don't have access to the document, or you won't have access to more information about the topic other than a name and a brief description of the topic itself and the SME. So you might see them, you might see card, but they will be empty. So at this point, that's so every people will have access to their own topic, but broadly they will be able to see every topics, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Simon, I've got one question in my mind that I think as you went through things, what was neat to see was sort of the dialogue of, back in the day and back when I used to do SharePoint in 2007 and 2003 versions, you had to go to the website and you had to live in SharePoint and become that SharePoint person. In my opinion, that's exactly why it did not get adopted, or why people couldn't adapt to it the same way. I know my file server and I go to my S drive every day, and that was the way things have been done. A lot of what you showed, Simon, was that integration and the blend into Teams. Is that really where you're seeing that drive now? Is more people are coming to Teams first and SharePoint second, or what do you see as you talk to a lot of customers?
I mean, so yes, at least that's what we try to do. We want to have Teams as our hub. We want people to work in team as much as possible, and because context switching is a pain. We are always losing time as we are switching context. So if you can focus on one app, you are gaining on your effectiveness during your day. So that's kind of the goal. So yes, we try to get people through Teams, but we know that not everybody works the same. And that's why SharePoint is still accessible and will still be accessible. Or you can, like I say, if you click on sync, if you're one of those people that love to go to your S drive for your shared drive, you could kind of replicate that by syncing those SharePoint folder on your PC, and with storage sense, like only the file that need to be on your PC that you downloaded and sync will stay sync. And if you enable storage sense, which I guess nobody might have heard about, that is a feature in Windows 10 and 11 where you can go and say, if I didn't check a file from my OneDrive or SharePoint after 60 days, just remove the local copy. So you will save space on your drive, but you still have access. You still have the link to go back and re-download it if you need it. So there's a way to do that. And this way you have an offline copy that will always be in sync as long as you're connected to the internet to the original copy. So everything works. You can adapt the way you work with SharePoint to the way you were working before, and then slowly maybe learn to go more into Teams, use those more advanced features about chatting around the file and all of that. But you can still use the good old way to Explorers and go to My Folders.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, that's a cool way to see it, and how you demoed tying sort of Viva connections and the SharePoint intranet into Teams. That's my to-do and takeaway to work with Sri in his spare time when he's not talking to our customers, because I think that is cool. That's a good way to draw it back and not force people through the web page, for example, right? Is tied to where we're all working every day, at least inside of microserve. That's the case, right? Now, Isabel, I see your hand up there. Do you want to go next?
Hi, thank you. I have a question about the use of team, and I also see that Microsoft is driving the organization to use Teams more than the traditional SharePoint. And that the example used earlier is Mark 8 project team, and I see kind of a workflow develop in the folder structure there. If you would mind sharing that again. And so this is very useful for a team collaborating. But when the team, let's say this is a project, when they are done, we archive the team. And then how do I get back to these teams to look into the files and manage it like a file repository easily? This is the struggle I found with team, the management of teams. We might have 500 teams in our environment, and when you archive it, how do you manage it logically and easily and go back to pull files out?
So, I mean, document management is a full topic on its own, right? But as you archive a Teams, the file structure will stay in SharePoint. And as a SharePoint admin, and hopefully do. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to go to my admin panel. I guess as admin. Okay, admin. Oh, that's not the right admin panel. But as I'm going through my admin SharePoint admin panel, I will see all the sites that are there, and I will be able to take action. File, and again, classification of file, retention policy will be helpful in that case, where you will be able to say that once you close a Teams, that is an event, and you can do classification for data retention based on event. So if you close a team, you can say that the file inside that team need to be preserved for 2 years, 5 years, depending on your needs. And then maybe at the end, you want that to be reviewed and to know if that need to be conserved for a longer period of time, or they can be disposed. That it can all be done into your compliance center. In the SharePoint admin view, you will be able to see all your teams, their status, if they are active or not. But yeah, in that way, you will be able to continue to get those files. But yes, as a pro, like if you would like to archive those files and put them in a central library, document management as a whole is really a project itself. So we don't have just one solution for that. There's automated way to do that. You can create your own way through Power Automate, Azure Logic. We have third-party tools also to help you achieve that. But since it's not like one size fits all, it's hard for me just to tell you, oh yeah, it's like once you finish your project, just do that and it will go at the right place for your organization. So you could manually copy the file, you could have a flow kick in, you can just rely on retention. It really depends on you. And that's the kind of thing partner can really help you understand your process, apply the right tooling process to help you go from where you are currently to your desired state.
And that's yeah, Isabella, I think that's a phenomenal question. So thank you for raising that one. I think that's a hot topic. You know, I've seen some orgs that jumped into Teams very fast. And
Yes.
governance was an afterthought, right? And that's exactly the conversation where it starts is now, okay, well, what should our workflow be? How do I take those files of our project site? Where do they go for centralized management? So, and even Microserve internal kind of functioned this way early days was, you know, we had our SharePoint intranet structure, and then Teams hit, and then project sites hit, and our adoption of it grew. And I think that's all a good thing. Now that's a lot of that topic. How do you rein in the governance? How do you identify exactly what Simon said? There's so many different ways you can solution it. I think what's important to understand is your business workflow, where you want it to end up. And that's really where the magic of, you know, guys like Shri and Simon come into play, is designing it to accommodate your business need, right? The tools can pretty much do any form of what we need. Reining it back in, having control, implementing automation wherever you can. Those are kind of big themes that I'm certainly seeing in discussions as well, though.
That's good thoughts. Good thoughts. We have in our organization the project team, the project management team create a team for every project, and the files are stored within it. And then I wonder how we're going to manage the artifacts ongoing after the project is closed, and there's no automatic workflow to automatically close the teams. We just get more and more teams just staying in the administration. Like it's not being managed. Like it's easy to start something, but like you said, governance and the long-term management, and it's something should be coming ahead of implementation. Yeah.
And that's, your head's in the right place. I mean, if you've already adopted, and you know, it's tricky because you want to enable that collaboration. That's the beauty that Teams brought us. You know, yes, start a project site when a team launches, because that's what, you know, as Simon showed us, that ability to collaborate together, work on files together, you know, meeting recordings all in that one spot where your project lives, right? But Isabel, you've definitely hit the nail on the head. Now what? You know, now you've got 600 projects that have been closed in the last 2 years. Where do they go? How do you make sure you don't lose those projects? Artifacts? I think that's a phenomenal discussion to go deeper on, right? And figure out how you build a solution around that to accommodate and make life easy and not lose your project artifacts, right?
Thank you. The reality, it was pre-pandemic. That's the first discussion we had. Like, how your teams, like, what's the team life cycle? Pandemic just shifted discussion. Like, people wanted to go in, and now we are kind of need to clean up after, because in the past, that was how we always started our team project. Like, so let's control the flow first. Like, let's map that out, and then we'll start enabling people. Now people are enabled, and we need to manage the aftershock.
Exactly. Yes, and even the quota management, like when they create the teams, they start to upload all the files in there, and that the quota is per tenant, per SharePoint site, and that they are not assigned quota by their project, by the department. And how are we going to let them know that they're using this much? Is there any tool to enable us to make it visible to them that they have a responsibility? When it comes time to managing the quota, it would be useful that if Microsoft has a little bit more tool set to help with that.
But we have a few third-party tools that can help you with the lifecycle management of your teams, the quota and all of that. So it's been done, but by partners, not directly by Microsoft.
Okay, it's good to know. Yeah. Thank you.
For that broader ecosystem, right? No, really good thoughts and comments there, Isabel. You know, on the flip side, I'd love. I mean, I don't see hands up for more questions. I'd love to say we still got what 44 people in this. Hands up for any of those that are still on file servers and haven't made it to SharePoint yet. I'm curious how many of those we have in the room. Okay, we got one bold enough so far. Are there others that are not yet in SharePoint? And Justin, okay, you got both. You know, and that's one thing I found really interesting with the pandemic was how fast you could shift, and getting into SharePoint or Teams sometimes wasn't always easy, and you're dealing with Microsoft and authentication and Azure AD, and maybe the orgs weren't ready for it. We saw a lot of our clients, day one, let's go buy 400 more concurrent VPN licenses to get back to that good old file server when we work from home. A lot of them didn't go away. A lot of our discussions now, though, I think need to center around how to modernize it, how to enable some of, what Sri and Simon are talking about today. For those that haven't, to me, that hits the nail on the head. What it's done to our organization, the collaborative side, the fact that even just productivity and time savings, the versioning that was discussed or shown, to me, the value is so often forgot about or underestimated. We used to live in the V1 NB, V2 SR, every file version we had to name ourselves and manage it ourselves, and then collaborate on, well, this version had these edits, how do I merge them in? It was a nightmare. So that's for those that haven't gotten into SharePoint and really experienced that yet, say try it out, but that makes the biggest difference. No more manual version control. When we worked 11th hour, I remember years ago now, but the first time we got into SharePoint, we're to big RFP. We had 30 of us in one file at the same time. And Simon's example with the one cursor moving around, when you see 30 cursors bouncing over your file and watching in real time the edits happen, to me, that was the epiphany of, oh my God, what have I been doing on a file server all these years? That collaboration, when you really see it at scale, it is mind-boggling how much value that can provide to an organization. Now we're down to our final 2 minutes before we officially close out here. Any final questions or thoughts before we wrap for today? Well, feel free and chime in if there is. As I promised at the beginning, there's a call to action. Feel free to just use your phone, scan the QR code, or leverage this link. Or Nika just posted direct in the chat if that's easier. We'd love your feedback in terms of the content we covered today. It's also asking you if you'd like to have a further dialogue and see how we can help you. Happy to have follow-on chats, and certainly I'll commit Sri and Simon. I get less control over committing to, but I'm sure we could rope you into chats if need be. And Sri and Simon, really appreciate your time hosting this today, and hopefully you all found some value out of this.
Thanks for the invite.
Thanks.